Hello to my air signs, Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini. Welcome to the Aquarius new moon. You'll find the timestamps for your rising signs listed below. Hello Libra Rising, welcome to your reading for the Aquarius new moon happening on Saturday, the 10th of February at 10 a.m. if you're in the southern hemisphere with me. It's also the Chinese Lunar New Year celebration of entry into the year of the wood dragon. So if you've got Chinese community around where you live, there's going to be lots of celebrations in the street and great feeling of rejoicing and coming together and beautiful, like New Year vibes. So that will be really entertaining and beautiful to be a part of too. Now, what we're looking at is a bit of a gatekeeping situation here. And that sounds sticky. Potentially it might not be though. Potentially it might be really beneficial and fruitful. We're focusing in on Aquarius. We're focusing in on your birth chart, your 5th house, which is where you create. It's where you make art and celebrate beauty and come together and make love and everything about life that is pleasurable and gives you a feeling of joy. So it's a lovely part of the chart. It's a really vibrant, sexy kind of creative part of the chart. Pluto is the deity that does rule over things that are hidden, things that have been buried for some time. That could be the precious metals of the earth, that could be jewels, that could be the dead, hidden secrets. Pluto, the Romans called Hades, the Romans called Hades Pluto. That's the name difference there. But Hades was the lord of the underworld. Hades was the one that was the keeper of the spirits, the keeper of the dead. And so we know that since the 21st of January, Pluto has been in Aquarius and will exist there until the 1st of September of this year. They'll backtrack back into Capricorn for a couple of months, but then from the 20th of November, they will be in Aquarius full time. So as a generation, we're sort of sitting on the precipice, a changing of the guard, a handover into a new way of being. If we think about Pluto as like the outer limits of our galaxy, as far as we know or have the consciousness to see, Pluto is that barrier point of our solar system. And it takes 248 years to go around the zodiac. So there are many generations before us that never experienced life on Earth with Pluto in Aquarius. There are many after we're gone that won't as well. If Pluto represents destruction and secrets revealed and power surges, and Aquarius represents our sense of humanity, with the beautiful image of the star here. The star is, in Hermeticism, the star is called the daughter of the firmament, which means the daughter of the sky. The star may have been sent here to solve the problems that plague humankind. The star has the solutions. The star is naked and free and has nothing to hide as she moves the water of life and love for thirsty humanity. That's the esoteric philosophy on Aquarius anyway. You can see this being potentially something really fruitful and hopeful. There's lots of talk about the potential of what Pluto and Aquarius might bring about. Technological advancement is one of the hot topics about Pluto and Aquarius, and we can see that with the kind of fear stories around artificial intelligence and the sort of trepidation about the beast that has been built and about to be unleashed, and there's no stopping it. I like to think that the beast, the intelligence, is informed and taught by humanity. So on that principle, it could be really beneficial. These next decades could prove to be really like it feels like a lot of equilibrium moving forward. Like life probably really will rapidly change for us in a sense of technological advancement and how we're connected. I am keeping my star under my pillow, and I believe that it's for the betterment of the human condition. I believe that it's for a coming together for us all to witness that we are flesh and we are blood, and we are all naked like this underneath our clothes. We are all the same, as different as we might appear at times, or as our minds might have it. There feels like a unification process, hopefully, that might come with Pluto in Aquarius. Major stuff, and incredibly kind of potent to be the gatekeeper of Aquarius. The reason I say that is because there is a procession of the personal planets all coming through into Aquarius from Capricorn, but they have to pass Pluto at the gate. So on the 5th of February, it was Mercury, the planet that brings information to us, that has us engage in conversation. Eureka moments is what it kind of feels like. Maybe a revelation around your work, around your creative work. I don't say that in the sense of like your... It's kind of hard though, because if you're an artist, they sort of go hand in hand, don't they? You're a creative person. It's for pleasure and for a sense of joy and self-expression. It's also can be lead to compulsion. It can be, you can devote your life to it, and that's okay. That's how we get things done. But in the way that you're creating, Mercury passed through, facing off with Pluto, and maybe bringing things up from beneath the surface. Maybe there were some huge conversations that were waiting to happen and you felt them sort of brew. You know, February was coming and here we go, I've got to talk about this, now it has to be said. Perhaps through your work, maybe with the folks that you engage in a collaboration sense. Then on the 10th of February, we have the new moon, so we have that beautiful dark night to sow those seeds and to really sort of plant what it is that we hope to have happen in this part of our life. The moon and the sun are at 20 degrees of Aquarius, so the other side of the way, and they are forming square with Uranus in Taurus, but Uranus is the god of the sky. And so when thinking about Aquarius being the daughter of the firmament, whenever there's a relationship or an aspect with Uranus, I can't help but feel that it's for the greater good. Uranus is the one that provides great support to Aquarius as well. So when looking at your creative zone, your access to pleasure, your artist, and having this square in your seed sowing with Uranus in your 8th house of your collaborations, of the way that your energy is involved with other people, and how we learn to grieve when we have to say goodbye, the revolutions that are occurring in that space for you, Libra, the way that that is sort of getting a brand new lick of paint, a new way of collaborating, a new way of moving around, different sort of maybe extractions and offers of your energy with other people too. I choose to invest in this relationship. This is a pact. This pact is over. These sorts of things could be happening with Uranus in there. Looking at this 5th house though, and looking at this sort of gateway into the 5th house, Mars and Venus are on their way there too. Mars will come through on Valentine's Day, forming conjunction with Pluto. Pluto and Mars in conjunction feels like a real overwhelming sense of bravery. It does feel kind of unstable, because the foundations all seem to be really, really giving way. But Mars, in its bravery, can also mean passion. And so passion in the 5th house sounds delicious. On the 17th of February, Venus passes the gate of Pluto into Aquarius. And then, on the 22nd of February, Venus and Mars conjoin. In the traditional sense, Venus and Mars are the lovers of the zodiac, right? In your 5th house, this feels really transformative to me. It feels really powerful, and it feels like something well-deserved. We've almost been waiting for this, for you, Libra Rising. Now, everyone's got a different relationship with their sexuality and their creativity, so it doesn't have to be so literal as this moment has arrived. If it is, go for it. I've given you like 3 weeks worth of astrology. I don't normally do that, but it just feels like such a moment in time. I've been ruminating so much on what I could talk about with Pluto in Aquarius that perhaps hasn't been said before. Not that I'm worried about repeating, or sort of agreeing with other people that do this work, but I did really have a mind to speaking to and naming the sort of dread of the dystopia that awaits us, and maybe shifting our focus a little bit. One of my favorite astrologers, Channing Nicholas, says that we actually have access to incorporating ourselves into the astrology. We can make things happen, and we can make change as well. So obviously, in the popular parlance, there's a lot of talk about the dystopia that awaits the culture, that awaits the future. There's so many things for us to be worried about as far as the health of the planet, the health of one another, the growing divide in ideology that we can see around the world. I feel, Libra Rising, that this presence of Pluto in your 5th house, the way you creatively express yourself, the way you feel, have access to pleasure, the way that you move around and enjoy this life, that's the kind of power that I want to hitch on to. I think that there's some great things that can occur for you, Libra Rising, as we approach these topics. We know that not everything is going to be easy. In fact, we can really see quite clearly how taut relationships are at the moment. But by you being yourself, by you really sort of sitting in your Libra Rising-ness and being like, yeah, I choose the way that leads between the great 2 lines of force, as they say in esoteric astrology. I'm going this way, and everything that is polarized hopefully will find encouragement to follow. The way that you express yourself and your art and even just your dress, the way that you sort of move around the world. This essence of Pluto, it could be offering you I was going to say rebranding, that's a dumb word, but like you're going to feel that everything that perhaps was buried for a time is going to start showing up for you. There's going to be the real truest essence of your artistry coming to light. That's how I look at it. This February is hectic, procession moving through, and this like velvet rope of Pluto being like, okay, you can come in, but like first of all, we've got to have a talk. Like it feels pretty shocking. But if we can prepare for it, and if we can look forward to perhaps a little bit of this as a metaphor, being naked, being free, having nothing to hide, as the star would want you to. Aquarius, as a fixed air sign, sometimes can feel separate from the group. They can sort of see the goings on in the human condition and strategize and find the alternative pathways and connector points to make everything cohere and make it work again. Sometimes they can feel really separate from including themselves in that definition of humanity. So if that's how sometimes you feel about your creative sensibilities, that you're sort of doing it on behalf of other people, and this Plutonian spirit might be like, no, we want you to tell us who you are, how you feel, how you see the world. You're a part of this. You and the star, as much as we say that she's an extraterrestrial, she's also human. Look at that beautiful body. She's part of this experience. She knows what to do. She can move the water and help us out. But there's something freeing about being yourself, Libra Rising, about knowing who you are at long last, using the encouragement from Pluto to to kill whatever was not the masks that weren't you. Express yourself. As our patron saint, Madonna, would have it. Let's get you some tarot, Libra Rising. I know that felt my tongue's getting fat because I've written so much and I've been sort of stressed about what I was going to say, because I wanted to say the right thing. And, I completely understand the tension that might be in your vibe right now. So many of us are feeling quite tense, and sort of there's an anticipation about the coming year, about, what might become of us. But if you're interested in astrology, and if you really do feel a sense of comfort with your tarot as well, use that as your guiding light. And it's not to look, on the bright side of things, but it's sort of like, how do we sort of feel what is going on right now, and how can we activate so we can be purposeful in our actions, but how can we reframe it, and how can we interact with it? That's maybe more helpful than loving and lighting. No offense. I get love and light too. I understand. Everyone's doing their best. There's a cold, hard, brilliant, vibrant truth that Libra Rising. It's written all over your face. It emanates from you. This truth is pure and sharp. And the High Priestess is just nodding at you. How are you going to work with this truth that you hold? Who are you going to share this with? It's not a weapon. It's a beautiful artwork. It's the thing about swords. They can be used for such violence and destruction. In fact, that's probably what they were built for, right? However, they're also a work of art. A sword is one of the most beautiful objects that you can be around when you consider the craftsmanship, is what I'm getting at. There's a clarity with the swords in the tarot too. This is not weaponized truth. This is something to believe in and something to hold with you. Because as you move forward, there's going to be many questions and many moments in your life where you're like devoted to this or devoted to that or devoted to that. Many things, many hooks will sort of take your attention, as we all do, and we all worry about so many different things. When it is all said and done, and when you're on your final breath, you're going to be so grateful that you were your honest, true self, that you moved through the world with integrity, and that you had the bravery to say, this is who I am, these are my guiding lights in life, this is what I engage in. The truth is that I believe in this. The truth is that this is my name, and this is who I'm telling you I am. The High Priestess believes you, Libra Rising. Can't take anything with you when all is said and done. What you can hold on to in those final moments is the love that was generated from you being honest with yourself and you being true to your nature. So express yourself. That's your reading for the Aquarius new moon, Libra Rising. Thank you for being here. If you are still here, throw a star in the comments, please, in honor of Aquarius. If you'd like to support my work financially, head to buymeacoffee.com/umaruby. You can become a member for 10 Australian dollars a month to keep me studying, keep me recording. There's also a tip jar over there that you can throw some money in the pan if you've got it available. I can draw up your birth chart. They look like that. Over at umaruby.com, you can make an appointment with me via Zoom. If it's your first time, pick the spirit reading. If you'd like another reading, and we've chatted before, head to the Back for More tab, and you can choose a magic, a truth, a love, a growth, or a fem reading. I'll speak to you soon about the Virgo full moon. That's on the 24th of February. I know there's so many dates here. Just to keep it chill, 5th of February, Mercury and Pluto. 10th of February, Aquarius new moon. 14th of February, Mars and Pluto. 17th of February, Venus and Pluto. And then the 22nd, Venus and Mars. But we'll talk about it in the next horoscope. That's it. Over and out from me. I love you, Libra Rising. Take care. Hello, Aquarius Rising. Welcome to your reading for the Aquarius new moon happening on February the 10th at 10 a.m. if you're in the Southern Hemisphere with me. So it's this Saturday morning that the sun and the moon will conjoin and will set the space for us to make some beautiful wishes. And all eyes are probably going to be on you for quite some time. There's a bit of a gatekeeping situation that's happening in Aquarius. Now, I've got notes for most of the month of February, so I don't want to overload you with too much jargon. But what I'd like you to do is have a real sit with how it feels to have Pluto in your first house. Remember, the first house is the house of the soul's rising intention. So as an Aquarius rising, this is the place for you to really flourish and to really grow as a person. And we know that Pluto is the deity of the underworld. Pluto is another word for Hades, the lord of everything that is hidden, all of the precious metals and jewels underneath the earth, and also the dead. So when we think about Pluto, we think about concepts about rebirth, about revelation, about revealing things that have been hidden for quite some time. A Pluto transit on a birth chart is epic. I know that for a fact. I had my Pluto transit over my sun sign in Capricorn in 2020 for a protracted period of some years because it takes so long to go around the zodiac. 248 years, in fact. And so it's unusual for an individual to experience a Pluto transit in their lifetime. Not everybody on this planet will. Aquarians are in process. It's about to begin for you. So I would like you to have a think about what that feels like. Pluto entered on the 21st of January, and they'll leave again on the 2nd of September, I believe. I was correct, the 1st of September, I should say, for a couple of months back at the 29-degree point of Capricorn. And then from the 20th of November of this year, we'll be in full-time work with Pluto in Aquarius. So it's big stuff, Aquarius rising, really powerful, really beneficial for a sense of revelation. Now, when I look at the tarot and I see what Pluto might be contending with, we always look at the star. In the major secrets of tarot, it's the star that speaks to our Aquarian sensibilities. In Hermeticism, the star is described as the daughter of the firmament, which means the daughter of the sky. I really like that subtitle. I think it's really beautiful, and it goes to sort of talk about that extraterrestrial feeling that a lot of Aquarians have in common. In my way, I go on little deep dives here and there to kind of stop thinking. It's one of my techniques. I just sort of absorb, and sometimes I watch people in Japan just catching the train. But last week, I was on a real Rosamund Pike kick. I've loved her since I saw the film clip for Voodoo in My Blood by Massive Attack. And she's an incredible actress and so captivating, I think. And I learned that she's an Aquarius sun and an Aquarius moon. She was born on an Aquarian new moon. So if you can at all align yourself with the sensibilities of an actress, I mean, I know it's a bit old-fashioned to do so, but by watching her work and sort of also listening to her in interviews, there's often something that came up in her conversations about not quite fitting in, always feeling like a bit of an outsider, an observer. There's something to that kind of feeling in the star too, that extraterrestrial sent to planet Earth to show humanity how to get to it, how to fix things. So this is why I kind of say that Pluto in Aquarius could be power to our humanitarian spirit. So I'd like for you to align yourself with that idea if you can, Aquarius Rising. You've been born for a purpose that involves so many. The ideas and strategies that you have, the way that your fixed air operates, that incredible intelligence and mind, so brilliant at thinking. Sometimes it can have you sort of feeling a bit out of body or separated from others. There might be sometimes a difficulty in including yourself in the group. You've got great ideas for the group, but as far as including yourself in that, that might be a bit trickier. So at this Aquarius new moon on Saturday morning here in the south on the 10th of February, I'd like for you to gently sort of allow yourself the vulnerability of being human as well. You're not an extraterrestrial as far as we know, unless you're keeping some secrets, in which case I won't ask. But you are a human being, and your brain is an incredible operation at observing and solving problems. Include your humanity in your concept of the human condition. That's first things first. Pluto will reveal. Pluto will dredge things up from below the surface that need to be looked at. And it possibly might be a bit destructive towards things that are no longer able to operate in the way that they used to. Old modes of being, old habits potentially as well, might come crashing down, or the consequences of those behaviors might reveal themselves. It's a long haul. Pluto will be in Aquarius for the next 20 years. It won't leave until 2044, I think. So we're in process, and it's going to be a long stretch. So we can hack it. The laundry list, the dominoes that I can see with the transits in February are quite intense. We'll start with the 5th of February. So hopefully, in fact, I don't think that they will be, but on the 5th of February, Mercury, the messenger to us from Spirit, is going to be entering into Aquarius as well. But it has to pass Pluto at the gate. It has to pass and conjoin with Pluto. So as far as what information you might be receiving or ideas that you have, maybe about these topics that I'm describing, potentially there could be something around your home as well, your sense of belonging or place in the ancestral line. That could be something that comes up too, because we are in some conflict with Taurus with these transits. But that happens on the 5th. So there's going to be sort of, I would gently be fairly confident to say that there will be some extra information that you receive, maybe some brain waves might be a really great way to look at it. Then we have Mercury in square with Jupiter on the 11th of February. So the new moon happens on the 10th. It's a long list, I don't want to confuse. The new moon happens on the 10th, and this is a great moment for you to sit with the idea of what it means to be an Aquarius rising. What is your definition that you've been sort of collecting over however long it's been that you've been interested in astrology? What parts do you identify with, and which parts feel a little out of reach for you, maybe, in terms of your intelligence? What I'm learning, and what hopefully we all are, is that intelligence comes in many different forms. It doesn't have to be an academic brain that will have you consider yourself intelligent. There's lots of different ways to be intelligent. Emotional intelligence is probably something that Aquarius is incredibly good at, because you can see that she's moving the waters of life and love for thirsty humanity. That's the esoteric philosophy on Aquarius anyway. So there is something about the body, there is something about emotions as well that Aquarius can speak to. It's a matter of including one's own vulnerability in the mix that makes the difference. Because if it's all sort of analytical and all of the fixed mind, then that can lead to all manner of different dystopian futures. There's a lot of chat around artificial intelligence in examining what Pluto in Aquarius might mean. And that's something for you to pass out if that's interesting to you or not. Personally, I will always write my notes for astrology with a pen on paper. I will listen and I will take notes, and I will hopefully, through voice, develop my information and not rely on an automated system. The thing that we need to remember about all of this stuff, and it does feel like a bit of a spooky sort of spectre that hovers over humanity at present. Oh, artificial intelligence is going to kill us all, is one of the catch cries. It will learn what we give it. So in that way, it's the human condition itself that will teach this intelligence. And I like that. There's still something organic about that. The idea of it sort of becoming sophisticated to a point and realizing that it's human beings that are the scourge on the world. That's incredibly dystopian, possibly something that you've maybe thought about once or twice, but really that's not part of the exercise of the star. That's not what the star would wish for. Alien as she may feel, look at her beautiful body, fleshy, human, stunning, able to make mistakes, able to rectify those mistakes too. After the new moon in Aquarius, then on the 11th, Mercury will square Jupiter. So we're in conversation with your home base, with your home, your roots, ancestry, relationships in family, bloodlines, those sorts of things. And then on Valentine's Day, on the 14th of February, Mars will enter Aquarius. Mars the warrior, Mars the brave one. Mars has to pass the gate of Pluto on Valentine's Day. A Mars and Pluto conjunction is something that I can probably speak to because I have on my birth chart an exact conjunction with Mars and Pluto. It's in my 9th house rather than my 1st, but what I understand that to be is sort of conviction in bringing things that are hidden up to the surface. There's a bravery there with some of the harder topics of life, in a sense of your identity, in a sense of perhaps the subjugation or power imbalance that you can witness in your own experience, in the communities that surround you as well. There's a certain kind of bravery that comes with Mars and Pluto in conjunction. It's powerful, it can sometimes shake the foundations too. That's what Pluto loves to do, is really excavate those foundations. So then after that, on Valentine's Day, so have a good one, happy Valentine's. After that, then on the 17th of February, Venus will enter into Aquarius, passing the threshold, moving through Pluto's gates. So we know that Venus brings with it a sense of creativity and pleasure and joy. So we've got that coolant feeling that I've been describing for some time with Venus in the steady approach to Mars. And then on the 22nd of February, Mars and Venus will conjoin at 6 degrees of Aquarius. So the lovers of the zodiac, if you like, or the sort of the yin, the yang, the two planets that bring passion to attraction. That's probably a good way to think about it. They conjoin in Aquarius. So you can see I'm already a fortnight after this new moon, but there's a lot of activity that's sort of rushing through. It feels kind of like water. It feels hopefully healthy, like moving water. So that's the astrology. We're going to have big chats Aquarius Rising. I know that we are. I'm really looking forward to everything that we can sort of discover together with this as our framework. I haven't mentioned a lot of the conversations with the fourth house, because that's sort of something that's it's building. This moon, in fact, the sun and the moon will be square with Uranus in your fourth house, the rebel, the one that sort of turns everything over, changes things in your sense of belonging at home, your roots, your ancestry, big conversations with family members, big conversations with yourself about where you belong and where you feel safe. What I will say is that Uranus does great work for Aquarius. Uranus is one of the planets that really can help to guide Aquarius along with their sort of revolutionary thought. Another thing to think about is that Uranus was the god of the sky. So if you're the daughter of the firmament, the daughter of the sky, Uranus is the caretaker. So whenever there's a Uranus aspect with your rising sign, I think that might be beneficial. So when thinking about where it is that you came from and thinking about the toughest spots maybe that exist around your sense of ancestry, around your sense of bloodlines, your home, know that whatever revolutions you're inducing there are for the better. We're given this life, and it really is a gift. It really is. Sometimes it doesn't feel like that. I want to get you some nice little cards to round this one off, because I think that I've just talked and talked. I'm thinking about the structure of these, just, mind to mind, Aquarius Rising. I'm thinking about the structure of these horoscopes moving forward. If you've got any suggestions for how you might like to see them evolve as we approach the new zodiac year, I'd like to hear. So I've got 4 cards here. Oh, one more thing to mention too is that the new moon in Aquarius, the 10th of February, the Chinese will be celebrating the new lunar year. So we're entering into the year of the wood dragon. And in that, there'll be a lot of celebration around in the communities that, if you're near Little Chinatown, or if you've got a lot of Chinese families around where you live, there'll be lots of celebrations. So there might be a feeling of sort of like excitement brewing too, which might be a nice way for you to involve yourself in those celebrations with your own first house seed sowing. It feels to me, Aquarius, it feels to me that there's a bit of the juggling act feels a bit exhausting. I think that we're sort of moving away from this grand spurt of, what am I looking at here? It's the King of Wands. So I feel that there was something really kind of juicy and really attractive that has involved itself in your life recently, really powerful, really magnetic, and with someone that is really kind of, there's a lot of heat coming from this person. There's a lot of confidence and beauty and attraction with this person. It feels like you've been finding it difficult to muster the fuel to keep that fire going. It feels like there's been too many questions around where this might be going, or around your ability to continue fueling that fire. Fire will go out if we don't tend to it, if we don't feed it. And sometimes there's no bracken around. The wood's too wet maybe as well. And it does feel like you have to juggle this, or you have to maintain a certain kind of equilibrium in your life to keep that going. And you're sort of being called at this moment to let it take you. I wonder if you did nothing, is this this heat that I'm describing is this sort of attraction building, or this sort of, maybe it doesn't have to be like a romantic relationship, but definitely something that does require a lot of fuel for you to continue. If you didn't feed the fire, what would happen? Could you trust this other person to feed that fire? Is that something that you can sit with as a constant? Can you rely on this other individual, this King of Wands, to keep it going while you're resting? Because you can see all those dead matches there, and this is the Nine of Wands, and that is a feeling of like, oh God, I don't know how much left I've got in me. I'm still here, but I'm knackered. So if you can sort of embody this Hanged One, you're not, the binds that hold you don't have to be subjugation. When you change your perspective on your circumstance, you can actually just really sort of allow it to start to move and to flow and to really open up. So maybe, the closing advice for this reading, Aquarius Rising, is to be like, if you feel that you can't continue adding fuel to keep this thing going, I suggest you don't. And I suggest you see if this King of Wands can add to it. And if they don't, and it's your problem, your fault, if it peters out because you've decided to take a moment to coast, there might be some answers in there for you about the future of this. That's your reading, Aquarius Rising. Thank you very much for being here. I feel really kind of relaxed now. I've been obviously studying the bejesus out of this one, and I got quite verklempt. And it was so hot yesterday. It was like 40 degrees here in Australia. Now it's raining. It's a cool 19 degrees and it's raining. And the weather has such a beautiful effect over my ability to clear house. So I feel in tune when that happens. Thank you for being here. If you would like to subscribe to my work, you can support my horoscope investigation and study for 10 Australian dollars a month at buymeacoffee.com/umaruby. There's also a tip jar available over on that website. If you'd like me to draw your birth chart, it'll look like that, and I can read it to you via Zoom. So you can make an appointment at umaruby.com to do that. I will be with you in 2 weeks, and we'll discuss the full moon in Virgo happening on the 24th of February. So 2 days after this conjunction with Venus and Mars in Aquarius. I'll probably touch on that again. I know that I gave so much information for the month, but it just looked like a procession to me. And through the first house, I can just imagine how you might be feeling at this time. So if it's exhaustion, if it's tension, hopefully this reading has let some of that go for you. I adore you, Aquarius Rising, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. Hello, Gemini Rising. Welcome to your reading for the Aquarius new moon happening on Saturday, February the 10th at 10 a.m. if you're in the Southern Hemisphere with me. It's also the Chinese Lunar New Year, so we'll be welcoming in the year of the Wood Dragon. And if you've got Chinese community around where you live, there'll be a great feeling of like celebration. There's a beautiful ritual of like 15 days worth. Well, maybe not that now, but it used to be about 15 days of celebration with the welcoming of the brand new moon, the brand new calendar year for the moon. So there's that. When we look at your birth chart, Aquarius rules the 9th house, which is up the top, and it speaks a lot to our sense of spirituality, our sense of philosophy and understanding that, learning about that, ingesting that knowledge, and then eventually perhaps putting it out there and publishing what you know. There's a great feeling of like traveling and journeying. Pilgrimage is a beautiful word for the 9th house, a great quest to seek knowledge. In Hellenistic astrology, it was called the house of the gods. So you can sort of almost feel that like golden sort of arc around the 9th house. It's, very exciting place. To have a new moon there invites us to go with the feeling in the sky. So it'll be very dark, beautiful evening to go inward and prepare to sort of make your magical wishes or cast your spells about that part of your life and how you wish to see that evolve and grow moving forward. Now, Aquarius in tarot is the star, one of the most beautiful cards that I think we come into contact with. The star comes right after the tower in the tarot too, so there is a great feeling of healing that we can glean with the star. She's called in Hermeticism, she's called the daughter of the firmament, which just means the daughter of the sky. So it looks kind of lovely on your birth chart too, to have the star sitting so high atop your birth chart. What we're working with as a group is something that feels a bit like gatekeeping. So we know that Pluto entered Aquarius on the 21st of January. We know that they'll be there until the 1st of September of this year. They'll go back into Capricorn for a couple of months and then re-enter into Aquarius on the 20th of November forevermore. So for the next 20 years, we engage with the Pluto in Aquarius story. And there's many different ways to look at that. When I think about this, I am full of hope. I wasn't, and it vacillates. But I'm committed to it being exciting. Because if we think about the idea that Pluto takes 248 years to go around the zodiac, this is very specific to our awareness. Many generations never experienced Pluto in Aquarius. Many won't. But we're here on this planet for some kind of purpose, even though sometimes it can feel really confusing. But to witness Aquarius, perhaps representing our humanitarian spirit, if she's the daughter of the sky, that beautiful blue cape that protects all of us, there's something in there. You can see in the star she's moving the water of life and love for thirsty humanity. That's the esoteric mantra for Aquarius. There's something about this individual being sent here for some kind of purpose to help salve and heal the pain that she witnesses. To have this angel in your house of the gods, in your 9th house, feels really, really potent to me. I really enjoy it. This gatekeeping that's happening with Pluto, another word for Hades, the Romans called Hades Pluto, the gatekeeper of the underworld, the one that lords over everything that is hidden, precious metals, the dead, reveals things that have been buried for a long time. The path of destruction that Pluto can sometimes bear in its wake, we have access to, though. We get to register what the deity has meant in antiquity. We get to register what the sign means in antiquity and now. One of my favorite astrologers, Chani Nicholas, has a great way of describing that we have actually access and involvement in writing the astrological definitions. We can engage with it in a way that has it flesh out and has it grow. I really appreciate that. And so when looking at Aquarius in your 9th house, looking at this sort of beacon of the humanitarian spirit, I wonder what kind of wishes or what kind of seeds that you're planting at this new moon on the 10th of February. I wonder what that might look like. I wonder what you've been learning or where you've been traveling, where you've been journeying to, and what information you've sort of been collecting in your knapsack. What does your spirituality look like, as opposed to perhaps what you came from, or how have you embellished or opened up your understanding of the spiritual traditions from which you came? Interesting questions. There's something that feels really vibrant about this new moon, as testing as it might feel too. because this Pluto in Aquarius at 0 degrees is acting as some sort of gatekeeper for Mercury and Mars and Venus. They're all about to pass through the gate and enter into Aquarius through Pluto's station. Almost like there's a velvet rope, and Pluto's like, you want to come in? Well, what have you got? How are we going to interact here? Mercury, the messenger, the one that gives us the information through the ether, will have entered Aquarius on the 5th of February. So already there's some major conversations, major revelations in conversation, more things being put on the table as fact, more things being revealed to us. And then the moon happens on the 10th. And then on Valentine's Day, on the 14th of February, Mars will enter Aquarius, but has to pass through Pluto. Mars and Pluto in conjunction, it's a very powerful aspect. I actually, on my birth chart, I have an exact Mars and Pluto conjunction in my 9th house. It's a different sign because of my rising sign, but this idea of a bravery, perhaps, in standing by my convictions, standing by my faith at all costs through many years, 40 years worth now of trials and tests and lack of faith and seeking, searching, trying to understand perhaps why I'm here. That's been a major, major focus in my life, trying to find the reason why. I'm coming to it, and I've got to say it's much more simple than perhaps I thought that it was before, or I'm much more hopeful than some of my skepticism allowed before as well. I used to wear a great heavy armor of skepticism, and it kept me safe. So I thought it was also weighing me down. So these are just some of the topics that we might discuss in your 9th house, Gemini Rising. As much as there's this procession of the personal planets coming through and having to pass by Pluto and really kind of having Pluto rearrange perhaps some of their usual significations, all the while that this is happening, specifically on the 10th of February, on this new moon, I'm looking to your 1st house and I see Vesta. I see Vesta at 21 degrees forming a near exact trine, air sign to air sign, a wire of support to this moon. So whatever you're seeding in your 9th house around these huge topics, your 1st house, your soul's rising intention, has the support of the goddess of the sacred flame, the hearth fire, the magic maker. Every culture around the globe has some version of Vesta or Hestia, the queen of fire. So perhaps the 10th of February might be a potent one for you. There might be some more magic that you can muster through some of this harsher, harder, stricter revelations in truth. Remember, the air signs all talk to our brain in the information that we receive and how that's processed and how it's translated out as well. And so there's a lot of deep thinking going on at the moment. We know that. We know that fixed air, as Aquarius is, can sometimes provide little room for complexity. And so maybe with the Queen of Fire, you can encourage some of that complexity, because we know that fire is unexplainable. It's so beautiful. It's so quiet. It's also ferocious and destructive when not respected. So I see candles for you at this one, Gemini Rising. I see you working with Vesta. Now, this is interesting, this sort of phrase of working with, and it's come up a couple of times, and from people that I really respect too, in this idea of, it was just something that came in through conversation. of wanting to understand how to work with the astrology or the deities, the philosophies on the gods. There are practical things that you can do, such as memorizing the glyph, the drawing of each of the planets. One way is to carve that glyph into a candle, and to sit with the candle and to anoint the candle with oil and to ask for strength or ask for whatever it is that you need. For Vesta, I would dare say it's magic. That's one really practical way. Another way is simply to say thank you. I've been learning a lot about Shinto, which is the indigenous Japanese spirituality, of which there is no creator of. It's a tradition that still exists in Japan these days, but a very small percentage of Japanese people would consider themselves spiritual. However, their day is imbued with Shinto, with thanking the kami, with the spirits of everything: fire, water, rice, hair. There's a beautiful ritualistic way of existing through a day that the Japanese seem to not even realize so much how sacred that is. Or perhaps that's being patronizing. Of course, they must, but not really. We can be quite we can be quite brash here in Western culture. We're sort of led by our confidence, aren't we? We're sort of like, I am this. I am a Christian. I am a spiritualist. I am a witch. Whereas the Japanese, every day they go through and they say they give offerings, they hold prayer for the kami of everything. So that's just something else that you can even just think about. Fire, think about your candle, be grateful for its light and its warmth, and you'll be speaking to Vesta. Yeah, so much is moving through Aquarius, and we're sort of really understanding and keeping our ears open for what this might be like for the next 20 years. Pluto in Aquarius is something that we'll never ever experience again after the next 20 years, and many generations after us have never experienced Pluto in Aquarius. Many generations before us have never. Special. Power to our humanitarian spirit. How can we actualize that using a healthy dose of Vesta's magic? I think you know, though. I got all wands, all fire, all magic. I got the 8, the 9, and the king. I believe that you can go the distance, Gemini Rising. I really do. And I think that whatever it is that you're cooking up right now, whatever beeline that you feel that you have to the ether, to spirit, to the kami, I'm in support of that. I really want to encourage your enthusiasm. What I can sense maybe is a little bit of a kind of, I think I can. Oh, I don't know if I can. If you're in that part of the story, if it's I'm falling down the hill again, don't worry, it's all right. Trust. Keep going. Keep that equilibrium going. Keep moving. You sort of have that run through your mind when you're on a bike and you fall off, right? When you're not thinking about it, you're sore. So keep it going. Keep it moving. Keep practicing. Keep collecting information. Whatever's in your knapsack right now, I'd love to have a review of that maybe later down the track, see what you've gleaned, see what you're bringing to the surface. It feels like you're moving towards someone, and this could be an internal movement, this could be a phase of your life, but this King of Wands here is someone who is really full of vitality. They're very bright, very magical, very beautiful, and they've got the kind of understanding of their magic Perhaps they've been working with Vesta for a long time. Perhaps Vesta is one of the deities that they really do a lot of magical work with. They seem to have it covered. And what it feels like to me is that you're on the road there, you're on the path to meeting up with them. Perhaps there might be sometimes a bit of a stop and start, like a faltering of like, oh, I don't have, I had this confidence, oh, I'm not so sure. It feels like some kind of offer perhaps that you're about to be like, I present this to you, what do you think? It's well received. And if this King of Wands isn't someone that you can think about that's sort of in your environment, this could be the other side of your Gemini self. This could be the part that is incredibly critical of your labors and is very insecure and needs to be listened to from time to time. But this could be meeting with them again and then having their mind changed. So both twins are working in synergy with this magical feeling. That was a lovely reading, Gemini Rising. I'm looking forward to it. I'm very aware it can almost feel like a traffic jam too, but I think there's a grace here that we can work with Pluto in Aquarius. Remember, Pluto is quite good at being a gatekeeper. And the other planets will pass through as they will, and we will just register. I'll give you those dates again. So the 5th, that was Mercury, the 5th of February. On the 10th, we'll have the new moon in Aquarius. So sow those seeds for your pilgrimage, for your grand adventure. On the 14th of February, on Valentine's Day, it's Mars that crosses the threshold. And then on the 17th of February, Venus. On the 22nd of February, Venus and Mars conjoin too. But I'll leave it at that. I think we'll talk more about that in the next horoscope. If you're still here with me, Gemini Rising, can you please put a star in the comments? That would be delightful. You can support my work at buymeacoffee.com/Umaruby. You can subscribe for $10 a month to keep me invested in my study and presentation of these horoscopes. It's okay if you can't afford it at this time. It's not going to stop me. You can't get rid of me. There's a tip jar over there too. You can make an appointment with me to read your birth chart if I've not done that before. They look like that over at umaruby.com. Head to the bookings page and pick the spirit reading if you're a first timer. If I have read for you before but you'd like another one, you can go to the Back for More tab and pick a truth, magic, love, growth or femme reading. So there's options there for you if you'd like to meet again. I'll be with you to speak about the Virgo full moon on the 24th of February. So a few days before that, we'll have a big chat like this. I love you very much and I'll speak to you then. Take care, Gemini.